Good evening, everybody. Come on in. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of What's on Your Mind. I am your host, Benita, and I want to thank you guys for coming on back. We're going to finish up part two tonight. Remember, we started yesterday talking about don't wake him up before time. Allow God to wake him up. We're going to really get into it tonight for as long as I can talk. I'm trying to finish up a cough drop here, but I will give you at least an hour. I'm going to try go at least an hour long and get the information out to you. But I'm talking specifically to the ladies tonight, but men, you're more than welcome to tune in. When you come in, click share for me, if you will. Good evening, YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Good evening, Facebook, and good evening. I'm doing well, Corey. Thank you for tuning in. How are you? Thank you, Instagram, for tuning in as well. And so we're going to get into it tonight because I'm really charged to just get this lesson out, and tomorrow night will hopefully we can finish it tomorrow night. Um, yeah, I think we're going to finish it tomorrow night. I'm for sure we won't get through with it tonight because of the how I have it broken down in sections. So tonight we're going to talk about why is it important that we allow the man to sleep? Why does he need his sleep? We're going to talk about that tonight. If you followed us from yesterday and you have your Bibles, you know um, we were in Genesis, the second chapter, verses 21 through 23. We started there, and we were talking about how when God put Adam to sleep, the Bible says he put him into a deep sleep, and then it says Adam slept, which was significantly showing us that Adam gave in to the will of God. He submitted himself to the will of God, and so that when God put him to sleep, he went to sleep. Okay, so we saw that in verses 21, and all of this came about because God was like, okay, I see everybody else got a partner, but Adam don't have anybody, that looks like him. He doesn't have anybody that thinks like him. He doesn't have anybody that'll love like him. He doesn't have anybody with the same physical, capabilities or physical, makeup that he has. So God was like, it's really not good that man be alone. And then he said, well, Adam, I got to get you somebody. And right after he said that, then he starts talking about, well, here's what I need you to do. Before he gives Adam a wife, he first gives him work. So he starts telling him, well, I need you to name the animals first, so whatever you call them, that's what they're going to be. And you see that after Adam gets done with his work, then God puts him to sleep and gives him a wife. Okay. And he puts him to sleep. The Bible says he takes out a rib and he closes up the flesh thereof. And there we see the first transplant being performed before we even heard of modern science or modern technology or modern medicine or anything of that nature. We see God doing something man have to go to school to do. And we have to learn how to do all that stuff. God just does it because he's God. And so after that, the Bible says that God took the woman and he presented her to Adam. And then my question was, why didn't God allow the woman to wake Adam up? Why she just couldn't go tap him and be like, yo, I'm here. Hey, Adam. Why didn't God allow the Eve to wake up Adam? Why was it necessary that God had to present her? What was God talking to Eve about? We'll probably get into that one tomorrow, because tonight we're going to talk about why does he need to sleep? Why did Adam need to sleep? And then I want you to flip that and come into today's world with me. And we want to talk about why is it important that men still need to sleep? We want to make sure, women, that we're not waking up our love interest before time. We're not, getting men to get out of the will of God because we love them so much. We want them so much. We are hunger and we thirsting after him, not righteousness all the time, but after him. And that's not a bad thing. You want to desire the man you want to desire, particularly if y'all plan on getting married. You want to desire him just like you want him to desire you. However, You never want to put a good man in a bad situation to where you make him fall and then he starts to resent you for that. And that's what we were talking about on yesterday. We were talking about why is it necessary that as women we take the responsibility, you know, of allowing a man to go to sleep, allowing him to have that time with God, allowing him to have that time to rest and rejuvenate his thought pattern, rejuvenate his physical body, rejuvenate his emotional well-being. We don't think about all these things that make up the structure of a man. We just looking for a man that love God, looking for a man that works hard. We don't a lot of times consider the emotional and the psychological makeup of men like we do when we consider the psychological and the emotional makeup of women, you know, or of ourselves. Because I'll tell you, although we are hardwired differently, trust me, we want the same things. We want to be loved. We want to be appreciated. We want to be cared for. We want to be touched. We want to be held. We want to be adored. But most of all, we want to be appreciated. We want to feel needed. Men want those things just like we do, ladies. And so it's now incumbent upon us, if you're in a relationship with the man, or you're looking to be in a relationship with the man, it's going to be incumbent upon you to take a higher role to say, listen, I know you're a man of God. I know you're a man who's seeking after God's heart, this, that, or the other. You know, I'm not gonna try to pressure you into some things that we've already talked about. We're not gonna have sex. We're not gonna spend a whole lot of time together when it gets late at night, you know, and you tired, I'm tired, you know. Well, why don't you just stay over tonight, or why don't I just stay the night over your house? And oh, don't worry, we're not gonna touch each other. We'll sleep with our clothes on, honey. Please, you know, particularly if you've already been sexually active, ladies, if you've already been touched by a man, honey, and men, if you've already enjoyed the pleasure of being with a woman, honey, that won't last but for a moment. Next thing you know, y'all wake up unclothed, you know, and then everybody's like, oh, what happened? Well, we got unclothed. That's what happened. So ladies, it's going to be incumbent upon us to say, listen, no, I respect you need this time with God. You need your time with God. You need your time in his presence. You need your time to sleep. You need your time to rest and rejuvenate yourself, your mind, body, and your spirit and your soul. You need that time to get your thoughts together so that when you're out there in the world, you can fight. Or even when you in here in close proximity with me, you know, we can fight off, you know, temptation. And he can't even fight temptation without getting his proper rest. You can keep pretending like you don't know what's going on if you want to, but women, we have a sense that's not registered. You know, we have something in us that's not. Men can't detect it so easily. You know, and so um, we have to be responsible for our own behavior, women. And so we can't keep going around. I said this last night. You can't keep going around enticing men. And then when he take a bite out the apple, then you want to say, oh, church men just as bad as men in the world. Well, no, 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 they're not. He did what you wanted him to do. You put it out there in front of him. You whack it out there in front of him. You push it up in his face. And after a while, you caught him on a hunger night, and he took a bit of the apple. Now you feeling some kind of way because y'all not even together no more. Now you want to put all men out there in the bad light. Now you want to say, church men just like men in the world, they all dogs, they ain't no good, they just want to get in the bed with you. No, they don't just want to get in the bed with you. You have to let them in your bed. All right. All right. So it's important that we understand that it's our responsibility as much as it is theirs, that we don't waken that part of him up. You know, if you're dating a godly man, you know, you guys are planning on getting married or what have you, you guys have already set the rules or set the requirements that's necessary for this to be a good godly relationship, a good healthy relationship going forward. You're looking forward to this turning into a marriage. And, you guys have set ground rules and say, hey, we're not going to have sex. We're not going to be sleeping together. We're not going to be staying over at each other's house, this, that, and the other. Let's not try to stay out too late, until those bewitching hours. The old folks used to call them bewitching hours, because after a certain time, ain't nothing open. You know what old folks used to say, but legs and liquor stores. So we want to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in those positions and then crying victim. Y'all see what I'm saying? And so we're going to get right back into it tonight. Uh, why did God put Adam to sleep when he made Eve? Why he couldn't stay awake? What was it that God wanted, that Adam needed to be asleep? What was going on in that time? And then when he took Eve, he presented her to him. But between the time he created Eve from that rib, what happened between God and Eve, and then the presentation to Adam? I want us to look at that so that we are understanding. My assignment, hopefully, is to give us enough information that we can start seeing some of these numbers decline, where we're seeing statistically that we're having as many divorces in the church as we are anywhere else, and particularly in the Christian church and in the Christian faith, we're seeing just as many divorces, as anywhere else. I myself went through a divorce. A pastor, and I was a pastor and married to a pastor. We pastored together, So we want to get it right. We want to get it right, and in order for us to get it right, we have to admit somewhere along the line we missed it, individually, and we missed it corporately as a body. And not everybody has gone through a divorce, thank God. Some of you wish you could get divorced and can't. Some of you wish you shouldn't have gotten divorced, and some of you, you know, you just living life however you live in it. But my assignment is to try to get these numbers down, get these statistics to change a little bit, because we are seeing just as many divorces in the church as we're seeing anywhere else. And those numbers are not, fairy tales. They're not telling lies. They're not, false indictments against the church. They are just what they are. And so hopefully, by me sharing this information and us having these kind of talks, we can change some of these numbers. Remember, I told you you can change the outcome of any solution by changing the variables. So if we start to manipulate the variables a little bit, we can change some of the outcome. But as long as we keep using the same variables, we'll keep getting the same outcome. Okay. All right. So let's get into this tonight. Remember, again, we started at Genesis, the second chapter, verses 21 through 23. And so tonight we're going to come over to, remember we were talking about why did God put Adam to sleep? Let's pick up there. So we're going to do a little recap, and then we're going to go into why does he need to sleep, okay? All right, so I think I sound a little bit better tonight. My voice is holding up pretty good. Okay, it says, so God performed the first recorded transplant when he took the rib from Adam to create, build, and form Eve. Now, taking the rib from his side was intentional and symbolic. Ellen White, in Patriots and Prophets, she writes this, that Eve was to be by his side as an equal and to be loved and to be protected by him. Matthew Henry writes it this way, women were created from the rib of a man to be beside him, not from his head to top him, nor from his feet to be trampled by him, but from under his arm to be protected by him, near his heart to be loved by him. And women, if we could just relax a little bit in understanding why we were created, understanding that we were needed, Eve didn't have a need. Adam had the need. Adam was alone. You are the prize. You are the answer to a need, and that's why we are termed help meet, because we're the answer that will meet some needs. And so if women can realize that, I believe we'll change the way we think, we'll change the way we behave, we'll change the way we treat one another, we'll change the way we interact with men. We won't feel so um we won't feel like we have to compete with the man to let them know I'm just as anointed as you, I'm just as this as you. We're not supposed to be doing all that. We were created to meet a need. Adam had a need. And so if we're going to get this thing correct, we got to go back to how it started. Why were we created? What was the purpose that God created a woman? He created a woman. Why? Because the man had a need. None of the other creations could fulfill the need except for something that looked like a man, something that felt like he felt, something that would think like he think. The only difference was that this object or this thing or this person would be comparable to him to procreate. In order for the man to procreate, he needed a woman. All the other animals, the lion had a lioness, everybody had somebody from which they could procreate, except for Adam. Adam didn't have anybody to love on. He didn't have anybody to touch him. He didn't have anybody he could rub up against. He didn't have anybody to run around the garden and play with, hide and seek with, and kissy poo and footsie with. Adam didn't have anybody he could make love to. God was not into bestiality. So he says, oh my God, this boy got a need. And so in order for me to satisfy his need, which was in reference, God satisfying his own need to see what he created turn out good. We remember everything he created, he said is good. But then he got to Adam, he said, wait, that's not good that you alone, son. So in order for him to make it good, like he had made everything else, he had to make Adam whole. He had to complete him. Well, what was missing from Adam? What was missing from Adam, listen to this, was something that was already inside of him. And so in order for God to get something out of Adam, he had to put Adam to sleep to bring out the best part of him. And that thing was his rib. And so, women, if I can get you to understand that you are already the best part of somebody, and all you got to do is just kind of be still and do what you got to do to prepare yourself, because I can promise you at the appointed time, God's going to put that boy to sleep. And when he wakes him up, God will present you to him. But here's where we are tonight. I don't want you to keep trying to wake him up, because when we wake up a man and we wake him up too soon, and pre-adventure, we are waking up the wrong man sometimes. And when we do that, we get out of the will of God, we get out of the plan of God, and then that's how come we end up in a mess. We end up in these abusive marriages. We end up in these adulterous marriages. We end up in these marriages where money is just in the window, out the window. It's just a mess. And so I believe that's because sometimes we can't wait. We fall in love with a man, and next thing we want to do, we want to show him how much we love him by giving ourselves to him. And then you know how we can do, even if he's trying to be strong, we got a little bit more power over him than what his will is sometimes. And you can keep pushing until you wake that boy up. And then when he's up, he's up. And then ain't no need you trying to back down once you got the boy up, and you can take that how you want it. But once you wake him up, there's no need of you trying to cry holy then, or try to cry the victim then, or, oh, I didn't mean for us to go that far. Girl, yes, you did, because you knew what you was doing, because you know the power that works within you. Yes, you did. You knew exactly what you was doing. And so we got to be careful. And we got to be thinking more responsibly when we start getting in these relationships, and we start saying, God, I want a husband, oh, I like this guy, or I'm in love with this man, or what have you. We got to start being a little bit more careful how we entertain the brethren, particularly if you're dating a man of God, if you're dating a saved man, or you're dating a man that's trying to do right, you're dating a man that's, seeking after God, you're dating a man who's trying to change his life for the better, and here you are, he's trying to do right, and you keep pushing yourself on him. You're waking him up before God is done with him. And so here we see Adam is asleep. And the Bible says that God put him in a deep sleep. Then he says, and Adam slept, which means he surrendered his will. He gave God permission. He submitted himself to God, and so that he went to sleep. Adam had no idea what was going on while he was asleep. So I'm trying to figure out, we're going to talk about this part tomorrow too. So I'm trying to figure out, well, how did Adam know who Eve was if he was asleep while he had never seen a woman? So how did he know who Eve was? And so that he would say, okay, now this is woman, this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. How did he know that? He had never seen a woman before. We're going to talk about that part tomorrow, okay? All right, so here's the thing. I want us to start taking responsibility, for our own behavior. And unless it's a case of rape, we cannot keep saying, I didn't mean for it to go that far. We cannot keep saying, oh, he slept with me, now he don't want to marry me. We can't keep pulling that card. We can't keep doing that, women. And so here's what has to happen. Because just because you're in love with a man, just because you're having sex with a man, it does not automatically guarantee that you're the one he's going to marry. So it would be incumbent upon you to just let him sleep. Don't put yourself, don't keep putting yourself on him, trying to get a rise out of him. You take that how you want to take it. Trying to get him to wake up before time. All right. So we see now that God put Adam to sleep. That's Genesis 2:21. We see that. So that he could perform, the writer here calls it a sanctified surgery. I like that. And so he made an incision in his side, took the rib out, closed them back up. And she says here that uh, we normally see God perform miracles. That God will spit in some mud, make some mud sap for your eyes. We see him do all of that. So now we want to see him do that in the lives of our own men. We want to see God working. We want to see our men submitting to the will of God. We want to see them resting. We want to see our men sleeping. We want to see our men performing at their peak. They cannot perform at their peak if we don't allow them to rest, women. If we don't allow them to sleep, if we don't allow them to spend time with God. Some women, they get with a man and all they want a man to do is spend all his extra time with them. If he's not at work, he got to be in your face 24/7. That's going to be a bit much. That's a bit much, and there's no age group or no, so I'm not going to say older women or younger women are like that, because I don't know. I just don't know. What I do know is that that's not healthy. It's not healthy for you to demand that if he ain't at work, he gotta always be with you. You gotta demand. First of all, y'all not even married yet. Okay, that's the first thing. You guys are not even married yet. So, and you're not giving him any time to spend with God. You're not giving him any time to spend with other Christian men, other stronger men, other married men that can teach him and mold him and reshape him and redirect him. Maybe he's been married before, maybe he's been through a divorce before. Give him time to gather himself again. Give him time, to get with some strong men, so that you guys are not repeating the same course of action. You might have been through a divorce, he might have been through a divorce. So by the time y'all come together, prayerfully, you guys have worked out all the angst and the ends, and then you guys come together as not a half and a half, because that y'all say that makes a whole, but a hole in a hole just makes it a whole lot better. That's all. And so hopefully you guys have worked out all your stuff, unpacked all your baggage, and by the time you come together, you're ready to go ahead and have a smooth sailing life from that point on. Now you're going to have your internal stuff to deal with. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say you're not going to have any more problems. What I am saying, you should not be repeating the same problems. So if you want to have that healthy balance there, let him spend time with other men, with older men, with men that's been married successfully longer, happily longer, faithfully longer, spiritually longer. All right. All right, I wanted to clarify. You don't just want them just hanging around people because they married, and they doing everything in the book. No, I would not advise that at all. Because bad company corrupts good morals. Okay. All right. So God put Adam to sleep so he could work on him. That's the reason why God put Adam to sleep. And women, it's the same reason today. The reason why we need to allow our men to sleep is so that God can work on them. God needs to work on them. Hey, Apostle. Um, who's that? Hey, Patrick, that's my brother. So God can work on them, and what happens is we'll get so in a hurry. We get so in a hurry and we get so, they used to call us fast back in the day. Girl, you sit your little fast tail down. My mom was terrible for saying that. Sit your little fast tail down. Sit your little hot behind down somewhere, and then we grow up and don't a whole lot change except we get a little bit more skillful at how to work that thing. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. Even women in the church, I know y'all wear your dresses real long, and I wear my dresses however I feel like wearing them. If it's nice and warm and springy, I'm gonna wear my dress how I feel like wearing them, and I'm gonna wear my heels how I feel like wearing them. It has nothing to do with what's going on in my heart and my holiness. Trust me on that. So some of y'all wear your dress all the way down to the floor, and you're covered up to your neck, and you know every which way, and that's good. If that's what it takes for you to stay saved, honey, by all means do whatever the Lord tell you to do. Some women don't wear pants, honey, whatever you got to do to stay holy, do what you got to do. But listen, you cannot take the liberty to be enticing to a man, and then you say this is how men are, when you put the apple in his face. All he did was bite the thing. All right? That's all he did. That's all he did. If he has told you, I gave you a story last night, of a study that we were involved in, about the couple, man of God. He had told the woman of God, they both were ministers of the gospel, and they decided to start dating. And he had told her, I want to wait us to wait for till we're married to have sex, so that we honor God. We both honor our positions. We both honor our faith. We honor the people that we lead, he had made that very clear to her. He made that abundantly clear to her. And she had agreed with that, because she had kept saying, well, I'm not sexually active either. I haven't been sexually active for years either, you know. But he said she agreed with it. Well, as they started dating more and more, you know, she started really feeling him, and he's really in love with her. So then he started talking about them getting married. He started actually putting forth plans for them to get married, you know, and he's still saying, it's my intention to marry you, but I want us to wait. I want this thing to be right. I've been married before. He had been married a few times before. She had been married, I don't know, maybe once or twice or something like that. I'm not sure. But and he kept saying, let's just wait. She would try to, slip it in there every now and then, but he would kept refusing her. And so one night, uh, she just pushed the issue. She pushed it and pushed it and pushed the issue until he gave in and they had sex. And immediately after that, he fell into this deep depression of grief and anger and sadness and resentment towards her, because he had told her time and time and time and time again, we cannot go there because of who we are. We are both ministers of the gospel. We not only what God sees, we have people that we have to answer to. We have people that are following us. We have people, how can we go and tell these people to abstain when you and I are over here, in the corner, in the dark, and in the back, in the booth, and all of that, and we're doing what we're doing, you know. And he felt like it would be hypocritical of them at best to be having sex. Now, here's the thing. He said he wanted to, but he knew he could not because of his commitment to God. So he said he asked God to give him strength while he's around her for that part of him not to overtake him. So in essence, he was put to sleep. Y'all see where I'm going? He asked God, God, put me to sleep when I don't want to get aroused. I don't want to, get to the point where I can't contain and I can't maintain and I can't say no anymore. So after he gave in, immediately he became sad, he became depressed, he was distant, he was angry, and he was very resentful towards the woman. Needless to say, they did not get married. Needless to say, he broke up with her, and so they went their way. And that is the most relevant example I can give you of what happens when you awaken a man before time. You don't wake his love up before time. We're going to get into Solomon. You can go ahead and go over to Solomon 8, Song of Solomon 8 and 4 is where we're going to read from tonight. Because I want to show you how detrimental it could be if you wake up a man, you put him in a position where he just can't refuse no more. And you make him do something he already promised God he wouldn't do. And ladies, this is what you all probably don't understand. When a man makes a vow to God, he takes that thing just as serious as we do. We don't have the monopoly on making a vow to God and meaning it. We don't have that monopoly. When a man makes his vow to God and a woman comes along and make him break that vow, he takes that thing just as seriously as we would take it if we make a vow to God and a man comes in our life and causes us to break our vow. They take it just as seriously. We cannot negate the fact that they actually have a real relationship with God, that they're not playing, they're not pretending just to get in the bed with you. They have a real relationship. They got feelings, they got emotions, they have ups and downs, they have high and lows, they hurt, they cry, they laugh, they weep. They go through all of that. And so we cannot be so judgmental towards them to say, oh, well, it didn't matter to him. He got what he want. Well, no, he didn't get what he want. What he wanted was to wait. What he wanted was to honor God. What he wanted was to honor the woman. But you awakened him before time. And so, and I said this last night, this lesson may be a little bit old fashioned for some, but if we're going to get it right, let's get it right. Okay. And the only way I know to get it right is to go back to the word of God. All right. That's the only way I know how to get things right. So, so then we see sometimes people, they try hard, in life. And sometimes we try too hard, and all it really takes is a moment of surrendering to God. She says here, God put Adam to sleep so that he could work on him. We want to be independent. We want autonomy. We want to do it all by ourselves. We got an attitude sometimes. Then you go to the other extreme. I don't need no man. All I need is God. Honey, God's not going to make love to you. God's not going to have sex with you. That's ridiculous. God is my husband. No, he is not. No, he is not. That doesn't make you sound holy. That doesn't make you sound righteous. That makes you sound unlearned. When you go about saying that, when he already said it's not good that man be alone. So in order for God to fix the problem of man being alone, he creates one man. He pulls one man out of the man. Now, God didn't say, now I'm going to create a spirit so you can have a spirit like me. No, that's not what God did. He created flesh and bone. So flesh can connect to flesh and bones. Hence, Adam said, you're flesh of my flesh and you're bone of my bone. He didn't say you're spirit of my spirit. Y'all see how that works? And so we have to make sure that we're not going about saying stuff because it sounds really spiritual and we think it sounds really deep and wonderful. But can I tell you something? It actually sounds a little spooky. Okay, it makes you sound a little spooky, a little touch, but not by an angel. Okay, so we want to understand that God did something here. He put the man to sleep so he could work on him. All right. Um, and sometimes God will wait till we get tired. He'll wait till we get tired of trying to do things our own way, tired of trying to make ourselves to somebody who we think we should be with. I have people tell me all the time, well, you should marry a judge or a politician or this person or that kind of person, or you should do this or you should date this kind of person, you know, but I know what it is that would be best for me according to what God has said. So I cannot just because somebody show interest in me, I just can't, go jumping through every hoop, somebody put out there, because everybody, I'm only one person. Women, you're only one woman. Men, you're only one man. You can't be promised to 30 people. If 30 people contact you saying, God said you my wife, somebody lying. 29 of them 30 people lying. You see what I'm saying? And vice versa. Men, if 30 women coming after you talking about she can see herself in the future with you, 29 of them women lying. Trust me on that. Because God's not talking to all of them about you. Some of that talking is their flesh looking at you and how you look, on Facebook, and they go and looking through your pictures and this, that, and the third, so they was like, oh, he look good, he look like he got something going, and that's how sometimes women are basing their choices instead of waiting, until God is done with people. All right. All right. So we're done with that part. Let's get into Solomon 8 and 4, and then we're going to get right into why does he need to sleep? All right. So in Song of Solomon, 8th chapter, verse 4, it says, I command you to take an oath, O daughters of Jerusalem, that you do not rouse nor awaking my love until she pleases. Now, what we're talking about here is you got to learn how to wait on love. You got to learn. And I know sometimes, like I said earlier, when you're in love with somebody, and y'all spending time together, it's easy for a woman to want to give herself to a man just to see, to tell him, I love you. I want to be with you. I want a future with you. But can I tell you, a lot of times, women, the mistake is made that you think having sex with him is like a security deposit. It's like your security deposit down, on something that sex can never be a security deposit because he'll get sex from you. He'll have a bunch of security deposit by the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be more aware that using your body as a tool to guarantee marriage is never a good idea. Okay. I know it gets hard to wait sometimes, women. I know it gets lonely. And then sometimes I think this just me. This just me. To me, it gets hard sometimes. But let me tell you what I find kind of funny. When a man has been trying to talk to me and declaring his love for me and declaring that God said I was his wife and all of this, and then I'm like, no, you're not my type, no, this, that, and the third, and he just keeps on, keep on, and then boom, out of the nowhere he's married. I just think that's so funny. I don't know why. Maybe it's something in me, but I just think that's so funny because what happens when you give in to all of that talk? And to me, that's all it is. It's just rhetoric. It's just talk. You give into all that talk just because somebody's trying to pressure you to give in to it. And then, apparently you was telling somebody else the same thing, so that's another reason we got to wait. We got to be a little bit more cognizant of how we interact with people and what we say and what we do and how much information we give them. Okay. All right. So I know it's hard to wait, you know, um, and here this song of Solomon was talking about waiting to have sex until marriage. That's what they're talking about. Don't arouse, don't wake this thing up, until it's time now. And so what happens is we don't allow men to just rest. We don't allow them that time with God. When we get in a relationship, we want to move so fast towards the altar. We're not cognizant of the fact that maybe there's a little bit more that God needs to work in him, work out of him, work through him, and work on with him. We're not cognizant of that fact, even if we see some things here and there, because you know what we want when we want it, period. And we're not cognizant of the fact that this man might still have some brokenness in him. you know I have someone that I counsel, and sometimes you can trace behavior back to their childhood. You know, why are you so angry with women? Why are you so angry? What triggers you that you would talk to a woman the way you talk to a woman? That's your wife. You can't talk to your wife like that, son. What's the real deal? And then we go backwards. We start working backwards. We start working backwards until we get to the root of the problem. And almost 9 times out of 10, when I'm working with men, particularly men in their 40s and 50s and up, I can walk them all the way back to their childhood where their mother was not kind to them, where their mother was not loving, she was not gentle, she was not encouraging. And she showed favoritism, and she mistreated the boy child, for whatever reason. And what we don't realize, when we do that, these men grow up with that hidden compartment in their heart. All of us have this little hidden compartment in our heart where we harbor something that happened to us, and it takes you going through sometimes deliverance and counseling and things of that nature to get that little pocket of stuff out of your heart, so you can effectively deal with it and talk yourself through it, so that you're not making everybody pay for something your mom did or something your dad did to you. You know what I'm saying? And so we walked all the way back into the childhood. And when we got back to where I believed the incident took place, where I believed the root of bitterness was planted, where I believed, it all happened, if you will, where I believe it started from, when I mentioned it, he had a break. He had a break, and he was able to say, I never thought about it like that. He says, but you're right. That's why I said what I said to my wife, because when she said that, she reminded me of my mother. And so, in that instance, we as women, we say we're praying women, but sometimes we're praying, but we're not using discernment, because good discerning would show you those um, a good spirit of discernment. It'll show you those little red flags. It'll show you his drawbacks. It'll show you his flare ups. You'll see those red signs, those red flags. And all red flags are not deal breakers. Some red flags will show up so you can know how to pray, and you can know how to intercede for that man, or you can bring it to his attention. If you can't bring it to his attention, maybe suggest you guys talk to somebody. They have premarital counseling, which is, listen, I'm a champion for counseling at any point. Spiritual, marital, self-awareness counseling, what have you, individual, couple counseling. I'm a proponent of counseling, period. Because it works so well for me, and I know it will work well for you. So here Solomon is talking about, listen, don't wake this man up. Don't get in such a hurry to want to have sex with him, because what happens, listen to this. There was a gentleman, um, he's a pastor, and he had a sex addiction. He had a sex addiction. And so it had ruined his marriage. And he had made a vow to God. He had gone through sex addiction counseling and all of that. And so he had made a vow to God. When the next relationship he got in, he wanted to maintain his purity, and he wanted to stay on track with his therapy and all of that. And he did really well. He did really, really well. He did well, you know. Um, he got to the point where he can go out, he can go to dinner, with a woman, and she would go home and he would go to his house, he could go, to a park and, not wind up going home with a woman. He was doing really well. He was doing really well. And he got involved with this woman. And after she found out that he had, been struggling with being sex addictions before, this is just my opinion. I feel like she used that to entice him even the more, you know, because once she knew that, I feel like then she should have taken the responsibility, of making sure she didn't put him in that position again. You know, um, it's like if somebody was on drugs, why would you keep taking them or offering them the drugs that they were once addicted to? Somebody was addicted to alcohol, why you keep asking them to ride to the liquor store with you? You know what I'm saying? That kind of thinking. And so I feel personally, to me, it was a setup from hell. I'm just going to tell you how I feel. It was a setup from hell. And one thing that really angers me, it really gets my goat, is to see a woman intentionally make a man fall into sin uh, by having sex with her. And particularly if the man have told you, let's wait to get married. I just think we really need to talk about that a little bit more than what we're talking about, because we always talking about how men make women fall. But we really need to look at a lot of that. A lot of that, I read something that said, if you're with a woman, you're on a date with her, and if she got on the whole matching set, panties and bras, she already had planned what was gonna go down that night. So men think they be in control of the situation, but women, when we first meet you, our first conversation. Now I'm gonna let a secret out the bag, and I know they're gonna snatch my girl club card, but when we first sit down and talk to you, even over the phone, sometimes we can be like, "Oh, child, nah, ain't nothing gonna happen with him," or we can be like, "Nah, he can get it," And y'all, we got to be honest. And yes, I'm talking about saved people. Yes, I am talking about saved women, because saved women talk like that. Y'all just don't want to tell the truth about it, you know. And so we know what's going to happen. We know what we don't want to happen, you know. So then it's our responsibility. Now we are responsible for what we know. You already know this man is super, uber attracted to you. You already know you're a sexual person. You already know he's a sexual person. And you already know you both are trying to walk in this light. You both are trying to walk in a way that's pleasing to God. So then, if you know this man is feeling you like this, then it's incumbent upon us as women to make sure we both walk this thing out. If we're going to be together, let's be together. Let's start it out right so we can, so it can go right. But if we start out in the bed, after a while, what else we gonna have? We don't have anything to look forward to. We're not gonna have anything to talk about. You can talk about, you know, as you get closer to getting married, and once you go from the dating to courtship, dating is first day to 6 months, we're dating 6 months, and after you move into the courtship. Okay. Courtship, after that, you move into engagement to marriage. Those are the 4 steps um, of the relationship. Okay. And so it's incumbent upon us to understand that we have to be more responsible, and we got to be more honest, and you wear the right dress to dinner, those of you that are, blessed in the chest, snatched in the waist, you know what I'm saying? And, you got that dip in your hip, and your back got a little curve in it, you wear the right dress to dinner, you wear the right shoes to dinner, you like let your toes show during dinner. You know exactly what you're doing. You put on just enough perfume, for dinner. You know what you're doing, uh and all of that is enticing to a man that's already interested in you. So then you have to say to yourself, do I want this to go down now, or is this a man worth waiting for? We always say, woman, you're worth waiting for. But can I encourage the women? There's a whole lot of men out there that's worth waiting for. You don't have to just push up on everybody. Just you don't test a man. Don't test him. Oh, I'm gonna test him and see if he really saved. I'm gonna test him and see if this for real. All right, get tossed up and then get tossed out. Then you're gonna be looking silly. All right. All right. So the Bible is filled with thou shalt not, and the thing about it, I think the reason why we take so many liberties with our salvation is because we like to say, well, the Bible didn't necessarily say it that way. The Bible didn't necessarily address it that way. You can make all the excuses you want. You can try to fix the word. You can twist it and turn it, make it try to, you can try to put a how do they say, a round peg into a square hole and all of that. You can try to do all of that, but the word is still the word, and we cannot afford to try to make it fit our situation. All right, let the man sleep, let God work on him, let God have that time with him, because again, you don't know what's in him. You know what's on the outside, because what's on the outside is pleasing to the eye, particularly uh, if he wears a nice suit, if he wears nice clothes, he drives a nice car, all that stuff, you know, and if he smells good. Me, I'm into smells, I'm into smell and I'm into intelligent conversation, uh, what you drive is what you drive. That's your car. You pay for it. I drive a Jeep. I'm a Chrysler girl, been a Chrysler girl for a long time. I like Chrysler. So what you drive, you know, might in people, but I want to know what's in your heart. I want to know, how do you think? How do you process? What do you like when you get angry? What do you like if I disagree with something you say? How do you behave around people that you don't know? How do you behave in situations that are uncomfortable with you? Those are the things I'm interested in, but most of all, I want to know, can you wear a suit well? That's what I want to know. And so let's talk about, why does a man need his sleep? I just want to read to you real quickly. My daughter said amen to that. I just like what I like, and you can't get mad at me for, you know, like men that wear tennis shoes all the time. Some women like men that, wear jeans and a blazer, you know. Some women, I think I'm out of paper, yeah. Some women like men, that wear what do you call those? Um, Sweatpants and tennis shoes all the time. Some women like men who wear baseball caps all the time. Me in particular, I like a man who can and will wear a suit, and wear it well. You know, uh, that's just what I like. He doesn't have to wear a suit all the time, but yeah. So, everybody have what they like. I cannot find my other paper that I wanted to read for you guys. Um, what did I do with my other paper? I was just reading that paper. Well, I have some information for you. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it. From the Mayo Clinic. You guys know that's one of my favorite places to do research. So I'm going to read this to you, and then I'm going to probably end the broadcast because my throat is starting to get a little scratchy now. So I've been taking cough drops and some Alka-Seltzer cold in sinus medicine, and it's been doing really well. And I've been trying to rest while the girls are away, but they start flying back in the morning. So, but then they're going to turn around and go back to their best friend's house for birthday parties and stuff. So I still might have a day or two to myself after I do my airport run in the morning. Um, so, pardon me. So I want to talk real briefly to you guys about why is it important that men need their sleep. Okay. So I want to read some information to you from the Mayo Clinic about sleep. It says getting at least 7 hours of quality rest each night is essential for optimal health. Sleep provides the foundation for all of our daily habits and decisions. Sleep deprivation can negatively affect your mood and temperament, as well as your ability to focus on your daily tasks. Remember, as I'm reading this, I want you to keep in mind this is why men need the rest. This is why they need that time, that downtime, that time to themselves, that time to spend with God. This is why sleep deprivation can have a significant impact on your body, on both your mind and your body. In addition to the perpetuating serious health conditions, lack of sleep can negatively affect your mood and your temperament, as well as your ability to focus on your daily tasks. Plus, the lack of sleep influences what and how much you eat. This is really important for women that are dating preachers or that are dating men that are in church, any type of minister, whether he's minister of music, he works the altar, he's an adjutant, he's a pastor, he's an elder, he's a bishop, he's an apostle, whatever particular task he has in church, it's almost unavoidable that he's going to be at church a lot. He's going to be traveling a lot for church activities. And so it's incumbent upon you, even if you guys are just dating or you're courting, go ahead and start practicing now, making sure he's resting. Some of you, your girlfriends now, and then you're going to move into fiance, then you're going to move into wife. Be a good girlfriend without giving wifely benefits. Can I say it to you that way? Go ahead and make sure he's resting, check on him, make sure he's eating, make sure he's doing well, stuff like that. Don't just say, oh, I'm praying for you. Actually get involved. If this is somebody that you guys have agreed that you're going to be together, that you guys have agreed that this is what we're going to do, this is where we're heading, make sure he rests, okay? And make sure you're not the one responsible for disturbing his rest. All right? It says that lack of sleep will influence how much and what you eat, and we've been terrible about eating late after church. After church, they're gonna serve you some fried chicken. I don't know if they still doing that or not. Serve you fried chicken and cake and sodas and stuff like that, or everybody get together and go out to a restaurant and everybody's ordering, hamburgers and bacon and, all this heavy food, grits and eggs, all this heavy food that everybody go back to either their home or to their hotel rooms and go to sleep on all that food, and that's just not healthy. And that's going to make it even harder for the man to get a good night's sleep. Okay. Yeah, all that food will make him sleepy, but it's not going to help him rest. Okay. So since hormones are regulated during the sleep hours, when you are sleep deprived, your hunger hormones become out of whack. And what happens then, that increases the feelings of hunger, and it decreases your feeling of you being full. So when a man is not resting properly, when you're not resting your body properly, it increases your feeling of hunger, and it decreases your feeling of getting full enough to where you feel satisfied. So you're always going to feel like you need to eat something else. Okay. So it's not a coincidence that you find yourself reaching for bagels and muffins and stuff like that, trying to get your energy up, You find yourself just reaching for carbohydrates, trying to get your energy up because you feel so exhausted because you slept but you didn't rest. Okay. Furthermore, sleep allows time for your mind and body to recover from the day's work. And these important processes are cut short when you don't get enough shut eye, you don't get enough sleep. So during the rapid eye movement, um, those of you that are sleep specialists, or you're in the field of psychology or any form of medicine, we call that the REM, REM, rapid eye movement. Okay. And so when you're in that form of sleep, your brain sorts the important information. One second. Your brain sorts the important information from the unimportant, and files long-term memory. So in your mind, in your brain, there are categories. So while you're resting, your mind gets to put information in categories. Okay, this is important. That's not that important. I need to store this in my long-term memory bank so I don't forget it. That's how the mind works. But it only works that way, and it only works well when you're resting properly. Okay. So the next thing, if this stage of your sleep cycle is shortchanged, your mental focus and your sharpness, your sharpness of thought, your sharpness of vision, your sharpness of hearing, whether it be physical or spiritual, it's off. It's totally thrown off. It totally decreases. And so that's why you have so many men making unwise decisions, in the heat of the moment. Their passions are high. They don't have enough sleep, to the brain. It's like being short circuited in the brain, like something's not clicking to say, hey, get out of here. Hey, it's not time for that. Hey, that's not yours. Hey, you got something at home. It's something short circuited in the brain because he's not resting, he's not sleeping. Okay. And so what happens then, their mental focus is off, their sharpness is off, their vision of thought, vision of hearing, and their vision of seeing. All of that is thrown off. Okay. Plus, it makes them feel cranky and short tempered. What's wrong with you? Ain't nothing wrong with me. I can almost tell you 9 times out of 10 he's not getting enough rest. All right. So sleeping less than 7 hours a night is associated also with weight gain, with diabetes, high blood pressure, depression, among other health risks. So listen, ladies, if you are involved with a man, or you know a man, you're close to a man, and he has experienced in weight gain, or he has problems losing weight, he has diabetes, high blood pressure, suffering from depression, or um, heart disease, things of that nature, um, obesity, whatever. Ask him how much sleep he's getting. You know, Go ahead and ask him how much sleep he's getting, instead of us going for the what we might think are the important questions. Well, how much money you make? What's your credit score? Ask them, how many hours of sleep do you get a night? Because that's going to affect a whole lot of your life together. How much sleep he's getting is going to determine whether or not you guys have a healthy communication life. It's going to determine whether or not you guys have a healthy physical life together. It's going to determine whether or not you guys going to have, if he's going to be easy to talk to. It's going to determine whether or not you guys have a healthy sex life, because you can say what you want to say. As much as you are turned on by him, it's nothing more turning off than to always be arguing with somebody and not know what's wrong with them, and a good night's sleep, and a peace of mind can help eliminate all of that. Okay. So the next thing is, when you don't get enough sleep, you may experience increased body aches and pains, and it reduces your immune system, the immune function, and impaired performance at work. And it's nothing worse than a man having poor performance at work, then got to come home and deal with a situation that's not mm, pleasant. He don't want to come home and argue with you after he's performing poorly at work. He didn't get his bonus, this quarter because, his numbers were not up, so he didn't get his bonus, and if you are dating a man, of that make bonuses, that hurts him when he doesn't get that extra $20,000, when he doesn't get that extra $25,000 in that quarter or what have you, when he doesn't get that bonus, that 7-day vacation bonus, So if you're dating a man, or if you're planning to marry a man that works, for Fortune 500 companies like that, those are things that they deal with, if they don't get their bonus, you know, um, um, this one guy I know, he lost a contract. Um, he went in, he had put a bid on it, and it seemed like they had agreed that he would get the contract because he had the lowest bid, and he turned in his bid for that particular project. He came in really low at 80,000, you know, and so he won the bid. But when he got there, uh, someone had bid just below 80,000, and which knocked him out, you know, and he was very, took him a while, took him a couple of weeks to get over that. He was very depressed, very angry, um, and it didn't go well. So we have to understand different men that work in different, um, that have different careers and work in different arenas. They have different issues that they deal with. Everybody doesn't have, um, like a supervisor or a boss directly over them every day, watching their every move. Sometimes when you're dealing with corporate men, they have a different, oh, how can I say this? They just have different things they have to worry about when they go to work, versus, um, blue collar and white collar is two different things, and then you got no collar at all, as I like to call it, you know. But all of those guys are different, you know. Each level deals with something different. But make no mistake about it, whatever the level they're at and whatever they have to deal with at work, they do not want to come home and have to deal with, if you ask them, well, what happened? You want to talk about it? Not right now. Then just give them a moment. If you call them on the phone, hey, how's your day? Oh, it didn't go so well. You want to talk about it? Well, not right now. Well, why? I want to, don't do that, because then you're going to aggravate the situation, okay? And you're going to aggravate him, especially if he hadn't been getting enough sleep, okay? Because even if you're a woman and you don't get enough sleep, that makes you a little edgy, okay? So let's just be a little bit more sensitive to our men, okay? So then all of these problems can have a ripple effect on their daily habits. Um, so then the flip side is to make priority a sleep so that they can achieve wellness. Stress management is number one. Now, for those of you women that want to get involved with men of God, preachers and things of that nature, pastors or what have you, you got to know that they have levels of stress that you really have to be prepared to deal with. I was a first lady and a pastor's wife for 20 years, and you really have to be prepared to deal with everything that comes with that particular territory. It's not a title. To me, it's not a role. To me, it's a ministry within itself, you know. And you really have to be a confident woman. You can't be a jealous woman. You can't be, who are you talking to? Who is she? What she want? You can't do all that in public. You want to talk to them at home, but you can't do all that in public. You can't be, that vociferous and loud and just out of control. You can't do that in public. I would not advise you to do that in public. So you have to know what comes with the territory. If you are looking to marry a man that's in corporate America, same rules apply. you know you can't just be popping off at the mouth and loud and vociferous and all of that. You have to know how to behave yourself wisely at all times. you know um that's your responsibility. That's your responsibility. No more than you would want a man to show up at your job and embarrass you. They don't want to be embarrassed at the Christmas party either. You know, they don't want to be embarrassed at the annual golf tournament either. You know, they don't want to be embarrassed at the mayor's ball either. You know, so you got to know how to behave yourself, and you got to consider the type of man that you really want to be with. You know, I want you to consider that. Don't just keep talking about, oh, I just want a man. I just want a man. You know, and you know good and well you want a certain kind of man. You want a certain type of man. You want a man that's at a certain level in his life. You know, but you don't want to be honest enough to say that. So you just keep saying, God, I want a man. And so men start coming your way, and then you think that's God answering you. God got more sense than what we got, okay? So we need to start really, really, really looking to helping our men set better goals and, you know, make them rest. Yeah, and I said make them, because here's what I found out. When a man really knows that you care about him and you're not trying to boss him, you're not trying to be his mother, and you're not trying to, you know, just kind of usurp authority over him, he'll listen to you. He'll listen to you. You just got to be skillful in what you do and how you say things, and watch the timing. You know, you need to get some rest. You know, he don't want to hear it like that. He don't want to hear it like that. Try a different approach. When you try a different approach, I promise you, you'll get a different response. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is get him into setting his wellness goals. You want to get him, we're still talking about why is it important that we allow men to sleep? Why we just can't wake him up when we want him to wake up? These are things that are really important going forward. For those of you that are just starting to date, those of you who are just getting engaged, those of you that are considering getting involved with a man, or men, if you're on and you're listening, those of you that are thinking about getting involved, um, the picture is sideways. Uh, well, I'm almost done. I'm so sorry, Instagram. Has it always been sideways? I'm so sorry. Uh, Let me see if I can fix it. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see if I can turn it. Did I fix it? Hold on, guys. Instagram saying I'm sideways to them. Um, did I fix it? Okay, Instagram, let me know if I'm still sideways, you guys. I'm sorry. I just looked up and all right, thank you. We're good. All right. Okay. Sorry guys. Instagram was telling me I was sideways, and I didn't thank you so much for letting me know. Okay, um so in order for us to really get the best out of our man, you know, like I said, whether you're single right now, you're wanting to get into a relationship, you're already in one, you're dating a man, or you're engaged, whatever, wherever you are, you know, uh, we need to start being proactive about helping our men get into their best self. You know what I'm saying? And you cannot do that by offering him sex all the time, because believe it or not, and although men enjoy sex, sex is not always on their mind 24/7, like we've been told as women. Even we were told that in the church. All men think about is sex. You know, we've been told that in the church. Stay away from men. You know, you just need to be with God. You know, spend your time with God. We've heard all of that. But I found, let me tell you personally, I found that all of that not to be the case all the time. You know, you cannot just lump everybody together, because how we ever gonna get married if we don't date, if we don't spend time with somebody? You know, we don't go through the process of gathering. That the date is just gathering data and learning information. You know, from the first date to 6 months, we're just dating. We're just trying to get information about each other. You know, and then after that, then we go into courting, where we're exclusive. You know, you slowly start getting rid of your little black book. I start getting rid of my little black book, because trust me, women have black books too. Even church women have black books. You know, that's a unique thing about this show. We're very transparent and very truthful, you know, and I only speak for myself through my experiences. If I give you hypotheticals, that's what they are. I'm not going to use anybody's names. You know, if I give you points of study that we've done, that's all you're going to get, you know. But because people have to tell their own stories and their own truth at whatever time they decide they're ready to tell it. It's not my deal. All right. So let me give you a couple of steps and then we're going to be done. And then we're going to finish part 3 tomorrow. Part 3, we're going to talk about part 3 tomorrow. We're going to talk about how come God didn't let Eve wake up Adam? What was Eve doing? What was God doing with Eve? Why did he take her? Why, when he took her out of the rib, out of his side, where did he take her? Like, because the Bible says he presented her as if he took her somewhere, then brought her back to him. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was very interesting. And so I did a little bit of studying on that. So I'm very excited about tomorrow, which is going to be part 3 to get into that. But tonight we're going to finish this. I'm going to tell you some things you could do. Men, if you're listening, I want you to share this video because I'm going to give you some steps to take to start setting your own goals so you can rest. Women, if you're listening, I want you to share the video so the men in your life, you know, can start setting better sleep goals for themselves. Because remember, without proper sleep, without proper rest, they're not regenerating their mind. Their thought patterns are going to always be thrown off. Their diet is going to be thrown off. Their physical health is going to suffer. That's why we have so many Black men with high blood pressure, diabetes, all of these different diseases, because we don't make sure they go to sleep. We don't make sure they rest. You know, I posted something about being a man's peace. You know, no, you cannot be his entire peace, but you can make his atmosphere peaceful. You can't, even if your guys are just dating, when he comes over to see you, make his visit peaceful. You know what I'm saying? Make his visit peaceful. If you go over to his house to visit him, make your visit peaceful. You know, once you guys, you know, start transitioning to married and you guys living together and all this kind of stuff, make that time peaceful. Make it peaceful for him to come home from work. If you're not married yet, make it peaceful for him to call you on the phone, you know, without all this, I've been calling you for 2 days and you ain't answer the phone. You know, you don't know what could have happened in those 2 days. You know, I'm not saying give men a pass to behave poorly. That's not what I'm promoting. What I am promoting is that we got to be more sensitive to the fact that, you know, men are not going to call her. I got to call her. You know, we think like that. Oh, I'm waiting for him to call me. That's the way we think. They're not like that. They're working. You know, your man, you better hope he's at work, you know, and while he's at work, let him work. I said this the other day. A lot of women say, oh, I want a man that's making this kind of money. I want a man that's doing this. I want a man that's doing this. But then you complain about the man at work all the time. Now you want it this way or you want it that way. You can't have it both ways, you know. Oh, I want me a good saved man that love the Lord and want to go to church. So then you get with a person that's dedicated to his church. He's working in his church, you know, he's a pastor, he's a deacon, he's an elder, he's whatever, but he's committed to his church. And that's where you'll find him a lot of time. Now you want to complain that he's always at church. Well, what you want? Either you want a good man that's in the church or you want a man that's in the street. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, Lord, send me a good man. Lord, send me a man with a good job. And then when you get the man, you know, before you even get to the courting part, you already complaining that the man worked too much. It's like, come on, ladies, come on. You know, I mean, like, y'all probably, God probably up there like, child, girl, you don't know what you want. Call me back later when you find out what it is you really want. You know, and that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure we put on men when we say to them, well, I need you to spend more time with me. I need you to call me more. Well, you know the man is at work. Why is it mandatory that he call you on his break? Why is it mandatory when he call you when he goes to lunch? Well, he's trying to eat. You do want the man to eat. You're going to see him after work more than likely. Let him work. Let him work, and then when he gets home, when he gets off work, if y'all are dating, then that's your time. But when he's at work, let the man focus on what he's got to do. You don't, especially whether he has a physical job or he has a thinking and mental job. Just let him work. Let him work. Trust me, I'm telling you the truth. If he loves you, he loves you. It ain't nothing on that job or out there in them streets that gonna change his mind about how he feel about you. Let him do what he got to do, and you'll appreciate him more for it on the back end. All right. All right. So now here's what we're going to do. Number one, we're going to set sleep goals. Aim to get at least 7 hours of sleep a night so that your energy can tackle everyday demands. If you're not getting at least 7 hours of sleep, your energy for the next day diminishes. Your entire capacity to handle the next day's assignment, it diminishes greatly. It affects your health, all of that. If you deal with depression, remember I told you that I was diagnosed with clinical depression after my daughter died suddenly. But I found out that when I sleep, when I get my rest, I'm able to fight it more. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of stuff I've had to do. I bought a brand new bed. I bought a hybrid mattress, bought all new pillows. It's just different things I've been having to do. And so some nights I don't even have to take sleep medication, because what I've started to do was set my mind, to this situation. Okay, so if I want to get married, I got to start now preparing myself, not only to be a to be a wife again, but I also got to make sure I'm in, I'm functioning at my best level. I'm functioning at my optimum, best, even with having a brain tumor, even with having to deal with depression sometimes. I still need to be functioning so that I am a good help meet to him. Now, here's the catch 22 to that. If he's not doing nothing, I can't help you with nothing, because nothing from nothing gonna leave us with nothing, and we've come too far not to have nothing. All right, all right, all right. So I've got to make sure as a woman, I'm rooted and grounded. I'm well rested so that when things do come up, if he doesn't see it, then I need to see it. If he's not aware, I need to be aware. If he's not discerning of it, then I need to be discerning of it. One of us got to be able to discern. And he may be busy at work. He might have a big project coming up. His focus could be 100% on that. Well, I got you. I got us covered spiritually, because my strength has been renewed. My faith has been renewed. I've been in prayer before God. I've been fasting before the Lord. I've been toiling and laboring. I've been sending up timbers before the Lord on our behalf. You go do what you got to do. I got us covered spiritually. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why it's important, even for us women, to make sure we're getting proper rest. We're getting proper nourishment. We're taking care of our bodies as well. We're taking care of our feminine needs as well. We're taking care of our mental needs as well. I go see my therapist once a month, once every other month, but I am there. I'm there to make sure that I'm whole. I don't want to just be holy, but I want to be whole, entire, wanting, lacking, missing nothing, because that's the way God wants us to live. And so if we're going to be a good helpmeet, if we're going to be profitable for him, the Bible says that when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and he obtains favor with God. That favor there is not, oh, he just gonna get blessings upon blessings upon blessings. No, ladies, that favor is you. You are his favor. But when you study that word favor out, favor then is understood to be the wisdom of God. So he cannot function to full capacity without the wisdom of God. So that's why it was so important that God took Eve out of Adam instead of from out the dirt or from out somewhere else. He took Eve from out of Adam's side. If you think about where your ribs are, she was always protected. Even before she came and was presented, she was always protected. As you think about, it's like being under the shadow of the Almighty God. Women, we're already protected. We don't have to do a whole lot. All this stuff I see a lot of us doing, we don't have to keep doing that. You don't have to keep putting yourself out there like that. You don't have to keep taking these butt shot pictures, women of God, with your butt all tooted up to the camera, women of God. One moment you got your butt tooted up to the camera, and the next post you quoting scriptures. Come on, you're sending mixed messages, and then you wonder why, Lottie Dottie and everybody is in your inbox saying some of everything to you. Then you get offended and you want to blast people out on Facebook because they won't take a bite of the apple that you keep shoving in their faces. So we want to make sure that we are also setting our sleep goals. We want to make sure we're regenerating our bodies and our mind, letting our brain rest, so we can operate too at optimal potential. All right. So here's what happens. When we set sleep goals, we aim to get at least 7 hours of sleep a night so that we have the energy to tackle everyday demands. Waking up refreshed will help you make smart decisions and stick to your diet and exercise plan. Sleep can help you boost your motivation and willpower, making it easier to fend off temptation. I don't have a problem with discussing, even though I battle depression, because I truly, truly miss my daughter. I still miss her so incredibly, so much. And so I still have bouts sometimes with depression. But you know what I found out? If I'm in the middle of it, I can still wake up in a good mood. I can still wake up and be myself. Now, when I wake up, I'm a morning person. So when I wake up, I might pull a prank. I'm ready to tell a joke. That's just me. That's just me. If I'm not feeling well, I'm subject to do something like that. So I wake up very playful. And that's because I believe that's only because I've trained myself now to start sleeping better at night. You see what I'm saying? So sleep helps you ward off a lot of stuff that normally you would not be able to fight off with just getting maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep. And people think that's deep and wonderful to say, child, I barely get into sleep. You think that makes you sound wonderful. You think that makes you sound deep and really spiritual. Oh, I've been up all night praying, and I ain't slept in 3 days because I just been praying and praying before God. That's not really intelligent speaking. I'm just gonna tell you the truth now. Now, if God leads you to do that, that's you. But honey, your body needs to rest, okay? Your body needs to rest. And if you're a woman listening, you need to let your man rest, okay? The second thing, establish a regular bedtime and honor that. Ladies, don't have him at your house all times of night. That man got to go to work in the morning. Don't be so demanding. Well, I need you to stay till a certain time. No, let him visit you and then let him go home. If you're going to make him dinner, have his dinner ready when he get off work. If that's what y'all do, if y'all gonna meet somewhere for dinner, be on time. You know what I'm saying? If you know what time he get up and y'all decide to cook or whatever, make sure you have the food ready. Don't have the man up all times of night and he got to go to work the next morning. Or if he's a preacher, don't have him up all Saturday night. He got to be at church in the morning. Be considerate. Make sure once you guys establish a regular bedtime. Okay, you can come over, but you need to leave by 8:30 because you got to be up early in the morning. And just call me when you get home. We're not gonna talk long. Just call me. I just want to know you made it home. This and the third. But then you let the man go to sleep. Okay, women, let him go to sleep. So the first step is to change your behavior and making a commitment toward what you want to accomplish and stick to your plan. You guys make a plan together. If you're dating somebody, you're involved with them, you're engaged with them, make a sleep plan, make a goal, stick to that. Make sure he's getting his rest. Ladies, you make sure you get your rest too, okay? That might mean, listen to this, that might mean putting your smartphone in another room so that you're not tempted to scroll through your social media feed all night long or right before you go to bed, or you set an alarm to remind you that it's time to start your day. So what you do, or you can set an alarm to tell you it's time to start winding down to get yourself ready for bed. I had to start doing that because I would stay up till the sun come up the next morning, just busy, just doing, just busy, busy, busy. Now, I was getting things accomplished, but I'm telling you, I would be so tired I couldn't even enjoy my own accomplishments, because I didn't have the mental wherewithal, because I would go to sleep by 6 o'clock and then I'm up by 9, and I'm just like in a daze, and then I'm up until nightfall again. And so that's not healthy for anybody, okay? It's not healthy for anybody. So the first thing we got to start doing when we make a commitment, women, if you're dating a man, if when you see what his schedule is, you make him a sleep schedule, and it doesn't matter if y'all, move to the next level. Just do it just to be helpful. You know what I'm saying? You're not, this is not somebody you're sleeping with. Just sometimes it's just good to be helpful. That's just a little freebie. It's just good to be helpful sometimes. The third thing, eat healthier foods, and I know sometimes men will give you a fight about their food. They will. They'll give you a little bit of a fight about their food. But if you can show them the advantages of eating healthier, then they'll appreciate it more on the back end, okay? So when your body and mind are fatigued, you may misread that as hunger cues. So the next time you find yourself wandering into the kitchen or mindlessly snacking at your computer or at your desk or driving or whatever, ask yourself if you may be tired rather than hungry. Because sometimes I've done that. I've just been so tired and I thought I was hungry and I would try to eat something and it just wouldn't. I'm still tired, I'm just snacking and snacking, but I'm still tired. So, sometimes fatigue can make you think you're hungry and you'll start eating when you don't really need to be eating. Okay. So it's common to mistake fatigue or your emotions for hunger. Remember we said if you're not getting enough sleep, whether you're male or female, but particularly men, if they don't get enough sleep, it's easy for them to get agitated. Okay. It's real easy to agitate them. So the fourth and the last thing is to ease into your sleep pattern. Set aside a little time before bed for relaxation that can help you transition into sleep. I have to do that. I have to set some time, like I have to start like an hour before. If I want to go to bed at 10, I have to start at 9 o'clock, shutting down everything, so that my mind have to shift from, grind mode, from writing mode, from studying mode, from reading, from researching mode, from counseling mode, from talking mode, from pastoral mode, from all of that mode to rest mode. This is Benita time. This is Benita and God time. Time to start winding down. Time to start allowing that brain to simmer down from the day. It's like your brain is like a machine, working, working, working. Every moment, every thought, your brain is working. Every decision, your brain is working. Every nuance, everything you feel, every emotion, that's your brain working. And so you got to set aside a time. If you know you got an early schedule, you got to get up at 6 o'clock. You need to start settling yourself down by 8 or 9 so you can get on into bed and get you at least 7 hours of sleep, of constant sleep without interruptions. So set aside a little time before you go to bed for relaxation so you can transition into that. Try deep breathing, just sit and just take a few deep breaths. Not me, I have a recliner in my room and I have a massage. It's a full body massage thing that I have inside my recliner chair. You pull your recliner out, and you just turn your massage thing on, and it goes from your head all the way down through your back, all the way down your legs, and to the bottom of your calves, and it comes back up. And so I'll just sit there and take a few deep breaths, and just let my day kind of wind down on me, and I start processing. Okay, Benita, it's time to start shutting all those thoughts off. Whatever you didn't get done today, you're going to have to get it done tomorrow. And so men don't necessarily know how to do that unless we show them, unless we tell them, you got to come, you got to wind down. You go to bed running, you wake back up running. That's why a lot of black men have high blood pressure because there's no downtime in their mind. They're constantly thinking about what they got to deal with. They got to deal with racism. They got to deal with colorism. They got to deal with payism. It's a lot of stuff they got to deal. It's a lot of isms they have to deal with out there in the world, and we're not always sensitive enough to know that they have a whole lot more sometimes to deal with than we do, because we're wired to deal with things emotionally. So if something hurt us, we're gonna cry. Something hurt them, they'll internalize it, and that's gonna work on their heart. That's gonna work on their internal organs, because everything that happens to them, they're subject to internalize it. We want you to know you hurt us. We're gonna cry to show you how much we hurt us. We're gonna scream, we're gonna holler, we're gonna do all that. We're not gonna hold all that in, because that's the way we're wired. Men are hardwired. They're wired differently. You cannot expect a man to act like we will act. Why you just won't talk to me? You don't show no emotions. Well, he's not wired that way, and you poking and poking and poking is not going to make him get wired the way we're wired, okay? I tell you everything. You don't tell me nothing. Well, maybe if you change your strategy a little bit, and let wisdom have her way in your lips, you can get a little bit more out of them. All right. We talked about that in a show called Why Won't He Talk to Me? All right. So you're going to have to learn how to teach him how to ease into his sleep, teach him how to relax, and with progressive muscle relaxation, gentle stretching, just stuff like that, And I know a lot of people have an issue, a lot of, say people have an issue with yoga and stuff like that, but just some stretching. I'll just say stretching, since so many Christians have a problem with yoga. Um, just some deep stretching and things of that nature will help him, calm down, and release some of those worries, and stuff like that. So if your busy mind keeps you awake, just have him to jot down his thoughts, and put them on a piece of paper and set it aside, so that he's now getting into a regular routine of how to process himself downward. You see what I'm saying? So those are the things that we can do as women to help our men, whether we're dating, we're the fiance, or we're the wife. We can start to do to help our men start setting their sleep goals so they can get better sleep. They need at least 7 hours of sleep. That means if he, like I said earlier, if you guys are going to meet for dinner, if you're dating or if you're engaged and you guys are going to meet for dinner, be on time. Don't be talking about I'm gonna be 30 minutes late because somebody was talking to me or I had to take a phone call, unless it's business or an emergency. Be on time. A little late is fashionable, but too late is disrespectful of somebody else's time. Okay. If you're going to cook dinner at your house, his schedule, what time he gets off, go ahead and have the food ready or pick it up on your way home from work or what have you. If you're going to his house for dinner, see if he needs help with anything, if he's preparing dinner for you because maybe he got off work first, hey, I'm on my way. I'm just getting off work. Do you need me to grab anything? 9 times out of 10, he'll say, no, I already got everything. Come on, whatever, but go and eat and come on, go on back home. Don't hold his time up. And definitely don't try to, don't push him into an area that neither one of you are ready to go into, because a lot of times when a man is not getting his proper rest, remember his sharpness is off. And women, we can do a whole lot better with a well-rested man than we can with somebody we just keep pushing and pushing and pushing into areas that they're not ready to get in, particularly if he has already told you, babe, I want to do this right. I want us to honor God. I want us to, God bless you, Gerald. I want us to honor God. I want us to, maintain our walk of holiness. I don't want us to have sex before we get married. If he has told you that, he's put that out on the table to you, women. Do not Do not make it impossible for him to honor that, because I'm telling you, I have seen so many cases where you push and push and push. You make it almost impossible for him to resist all of that temptation. You just throwing all that in his face. And when he gives in to it, he'll enjoy you for the moment. But I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you about what I've seen. He will resent you afterwards because, number one, he is a man. And the most important thing to a real man is the ability to keep his word. You have made him dishonor his word, first of all, to God. You have made him dishonor his vow to himself to keep himself clean. Then you made him dishonor his vow to you because he said he wanted to respect you. He wanted to honor you. He wanted to treat you like a queen. He didn't want to have sex with you until he married you. He wanted to maintain his honor and his integrity. And by you just pushing and pushing and pushing, you made him dishonor everything that he said he wanted to do. So he's going to enjoy having sex with you. Don't get me wrong now. He's going to enjoy it. But what's going to happen? He will resent you in the morning. By the time all of that testosterone calms down, and he comes back, especially if you don't rock his world, and by the time he lands back on planet Earth and he realized, I be John Brown, I broke my word to God. Unless you have seen a man go through that. I've seen him because I have to counsel him. I've seen a man go through that kind of regret. He literally goes from loving a woman, wanting to marry her, like the man said on Color Purple, he'll drink her bath water. He goes from that to not being able to stand the sight of her. It'll be all over in the morning. You better say it. It'll be all over in the morning. He despised this woman so much because he had gone so many years walking in his celibacy. He had gone so many years honoring his word to God, honoring his word. He's a minister of the gospel. So he wanted to keep that honor. And here she comes. She claimed she was on the same level, but when the test came, she pushed and she pushed and she pushed. No, she didn't make him. But come on, let's be real now. Let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. We're not talking about robots. We're not talking about, Jesus himself. We're not talking about all that. We're talking about men that are flesh and blood. Men that like women, that like how a woman feel, like how she smell, like how she, taste, like how he, all of that. Men, you cannot just keep throwing yourself at him, then talk about, oh, I didn't intend to go that far with him. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Stop your lying. Stop your lying, because like I said, you wore the right dress, you wore the right perfume, you had your push-up bra on. Yes, you did. You know exactly what you was doing. You had the matching panties on to go with it. You been out to Victoria's Secret, or you ordered from Fredericks of Hollywood. Y'all know who Fredericks is. Don't play with me. Y'all know where we order stuff from. And so that is what it is. You had on all that stuff, so you knew what was going to go down. And you knew this man told you, I don't want to do this. I've been in prayer with God. I've been celibate for 3 years now, and I've been doing really well. He's proud of himself. Not too many men can resist a woman we love. Yeah, if she put that ministry on us. That's what I'm saying, Gerald. That's what I'm saying, And then we want to cry the victim. All he want to do was get in my bed. All he want to do was have sex with me. No, that's not. He wanted to marry you. He wanted to honor you. He wanted to protect you. He wanted to cover you. But what you wanted sex. And so that's what he gave you. And when he gave you what you asked for, now you're gonna say, well, church men just as bad as men in the world. No, they're not. You can't hide, you can't throw rocks and then hide your hand with the dirt on it. You can't do that, ladies. We cannot do that. So we started out talking about, why did God have to put Adam to sleep? He had to put him to sleep so he could work on them. And then we went from Genesis 2 21 through 23. Then we went over to Song of Solomon 8 and 4. And we talked about how Solomon said, listen, 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 don't arouse me. Don't wake me up before time. Don't wake this thing up in me. Don't get me all aroused, before time, because, I ain't that strong. We can, a lot of times women can hold out a whole lot longer than a man can, because he's just not wired that way. He is a man. He's not wired to just tuck his tail and run away. He's wired to face every challenge that comes before him. And sometimes if you put yourself in front of him as a challenge, then he gonna have to overcome you until he comes over. Y'all ain't gonna say nothing in here. And so it's important that we understand, we as women, we have the responsibility incumbent upon us that, listen, let that man sleep. Let him rest. Let him stay with God. Let him stay faithful to his vow to God. Don't make it impossible for him to honor his vow to God. Yeah, let him stay asleep. Let him stay asleep. While don't just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And then when he give you what you asking for, then you want to say, all men, all them church men worse than the men in the world. All they want to do is sleep with you. I thought he was a preacher. I thought he was a pastor. Well, guess what? He thought you was a woman of God. So you really have to know. You got to know, how do I come into a man's life and help him honor his word to God, help him honor his commitment to himself, and help him honor his commitment to me as a woman. Let him sleep. That's how you do that. You let him sleep, because you don't ever know where God is working, how God is working, what needs to be done in him. You never know. You never know what needs to be done. I told you the story about the sex addict. He had been doing good, going to his classes. He had overcome all of his addictions. And here come this hotsy totsy, messed the man up. And I'm gonna tell you something. I took that personal. I was angry with her. I was angry because you knew about his story when you first got involved with him, because that's one of the first things we had to talk about. And you intentionally got him alone and had him to sleep with you. And all that did was awaken that thing back up in him. Where he had gotten to the point where he can control it. He can go out with a woman on a date and go back to his house. Before, he could meet you in the morning, honey, you'll be in his house by nightfall. By lunchtime, you in his bed somewhere, he in yours, or y'all at the hotel somewhere. He didn't even care. Y'all in the car, in the park, in the trees, in the bushes, somewhere. He had it bad. But when you gone for years and you got that thing under control, you submitted that part of your life to God, and some old, in the words of my mama, some old fast tail gal come along and make you dishonor your vow and your word to God and mess your entire life up, mess your whole ministry up. You got to think for a minute, is she worth me risking it all? Is this 5 minutes with her? It's going to be worth me risking it all? Because there are some women, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to end it. There are some women that intentionally go after men of God. I'll let that sit there for a second, because I'm about to go. There are some women that intentionally go after the men of God to awaken them before time, to get them in a position to where now you're in this sexual relationship with her. And once you get into a sexual relationship with a woman, and you are a man of God, you are a leader in any capacity in the church, whatever. Once you get into a sexual relationship with the woman, it's nothing you could tell her. And then she literally has the opportunity to upend your game at any time. And that's why you got to be careful. I tell people all the time, I'm not for, adultery and things of that nature, but some people are just reckless and greedy and clueless. Y'all go bother with people who ain't got nothing to lose, and people that don't have anything to lose will cause you to lose everything. And it's women out there that intentionally seek out men of God, whether they're married or single, just to see if she can make you fall. Just to see. Just for her to say, oh, I know he wasn't all that, all that preaching, all that praying he be doing. I knew I could get that. It's like, you know how ridiculous you sound. Oh, I took her man, I already had him. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard women say. So we're gonna have to do better. We got to start learning, women. When you know this man really feeling you and you really feeling him, don't keep getting him in close quarters, and making it impossible for him to resist you. And then when it goes down, then you feel some kind of way towards all men, because you haven't, unless you've dealt with all men, you can't fairly say that all men are the same. You can't say that, okay? All right. So tonight we went over why Adam had to go to sleep so that God could work on him. Then we went from there to talk about Solomon says, hey, listen, don't arouse. Here's what he said. He says, I command you to make an oath. He was like, promise me, O daughters of Jerusalem, make this vow, take this oath, swear to me. Swear to me, O daughters of Jerusalem, that you won't arouse, you won't wake this thing up. You won't wake up my love. You won't get me all aroused, before time. So we went from there. Then we began to talk about, well, why do men need sleep? So we tied that all together and we brought it back to where we are today. Men need sleep so they can function properly, so their thinking in the discernment can be keen, so they can fight off temptation. If you tired, you're already tired, and old girl come rubbing up all on you, child, you don't really got the strength to fight her off, especially if you like her, y'all in a relationship or what have you, you already, really super attracted to her, she know. And women, let's be honest, we know when a man is really attracted to us or if he's just trying to be a friend. We know the difference. We need to stop playing these little girl games. That's a whole nother show. All right. So the next time we come back, which is going to be tomorrow night, we're going to finish this up tomorrow night. It's going to be part 3. So tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about how come Eve couldn't wake up Adam? What was God doing with Eve when he took her out? The Bible says he took the rib out and he formed Eve, and then he presented her to Adam. So in the time that he took her out, while he was making her and taking her out, I'm almost inclined to believe that there was some conversation going on between God and Eve that Adam could not be privy to. That's just in my storytelling mind, because I'm an author. I just believe in my sanctified mind that there was some conversation going on. What could it have been that God was saying to Eve? What were they doing? What were they talking about while Adam was still asleep? And how come God didn't allow Eve to wake up Adam? The Bible says that God presented her. The problem is, women, we're not waiting to be presented. We're waking up men that we want. And that's where we're getting into trouble. Instead of waiting for God to work on the man, wake him up, and then present us to the man that he has chosen for us, okay? To fit us specifically. A man that will understand you're there to be his helpmeet, not to be his mama, not to be his homeboy, not to be his road dog, but to be his help meet, which means that he has to already be doing something in order for you to help him. Because remember what I said, you can't help somebody that's doing nothing, because nothing from nothing is going to leave you both with nothing, and you've come too far not to have nothing. Okay. All right. So we're finished for the night. Tomorrow we're going to get on this, and hopefully we'll finish it up tomorrow. We're going to talk about what was God and Eve talking about. Why didn't God allow Eve to wake that boy up? Because I want to know myself. All right. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. I certainly have enjoyed teaching tonight. I certainly have enjoyed bringing you the information. Don't forget about the information. We read to you tonight the information for the Mayo Clinic. You guys know I love the Mayo Clinic, talking about sleep habits and the foundation of healthy habits. that come about from proper sleeping. Men, if you're on and you're still listening, 7 hours of sleep is what you need to um, aim for. 7 hours of uninterrupted sleep per night. If you go to bed at 10, start winding down an hour before you get ready to go to bed so your mind can start processing. Your mind and your body and your brain, all of that can get together and say, okay, it's time to start shutting down. It's time to start compartmentalizing what I need to hold on to, what I can let go of for today because the day is gone, so I can throw that out, and what I need to put over here in my long-term memory because this is something I got to keep working on. Okay, those are three departments that your brain go through while you're in your shutting down process. It has a compartment that says, let's hold on to this. Another compartment says, we already dealt with that, we can let this go. And then there's a compartment for long-term memory. That's where your long-term memory is stored. So there's three compartments there. And you need all three of those to be working as you wind down, because if they don't come together and start working, you're not going to be able to get sleep. Okay, you can go to sleep, but you won't rest. You need 7 hours of sleep and rest. Okay. All right. So the next time we come together will be tomorrow night. We may come on a little bit earlier tomorrow. It depends. I have to start picking up my babies in the morning from the airport. But then she's not coming home. She's going to another to her best friend's. It's her best friend's birthday, so they normally spend their birthdays together. So I might pick her up from the airport and then take her over there, and then I'm going to Best Buy for a little while, and then I'm gonna try to come on early, maybe 5 or 6 o'clock tomorrow. I'm gonna try. If not, look for me at 7 o'clock. Okay, do me a favor, click like and click share when you finish watching this video, or you can do it right now. But at any rate, I do want you to share the videos to your pages or wherever you share your videos. All right. So thank you again for tuning into What's on Your Mind. Don't forget, you can get all of my products from our web store at BenitaBradleyMinistries.org. Go over there, there's a shopping cart. We take all major credit cards, or you can find all of our products. Well, all of our books you can find on Amazon.com. You can also find some of our books on Kindle. Okay, just type in my name and all of my books will come up. Type in Pastor Benita Bradley. Okay, type in the whole name like that, and all of my books will come up on Amazon.com, and they will also show you what I have on Kindle as well. Okay, but in order to get the autograph products, you have to go to our web store at BenitaBradleyMinistries.org. Okay, you go there, and all your products will come with a handwritten letter, note, and signature directly from me. All right. Thank you guys so much for supporting, and I will see you guys tomorrow. All right. Let's say a quick prayer. Father, we just thank you for your loving kindness. We thank you that your love has been better to us than life itself. We thank you that you have kept us. We thank you that you are giving us a mind to get this thing right. God, whether we're in dating or fiance process, or whether we're already married, God, we thank you just for giving us this time to renew our faith, renew our strength, renew our commitments to you, renew our knowledge in you, God. And we just thank you now. We thank you for all of those that have been through things that now we're trying to get it right, and we're trying to please you more, God, even in our flesh. Oh God, those that are struggling with sex addiction, God, we just ask that you give them strength. You give them the strength to walk away. Give them the strength to say no. Give them the strength to make a new commitment to you tonight, Father. And God, we just thank you. Let them be able to flee temptation, oh God. And God, we thank you. We see that you're working in us right now, God. And we tell you, thank you. We glorify your name. We give you honor, praise. And God, we just want you right now to bless everybody that's sick. Bless everybody that's dealing with depression. Bless everybody that's still hurting from the loneliness of the holidays, missing their loved ones. We send a special blessing out of love and encouragement, of peace to them. Lord, just let your angels just hug on them and love on them tonight, Father. And God, we're careful as in all things to give you the praise, glory, and the honor. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Amen. Do me a favor, click share, help us reach our goal. We want to reach our goal of 10,000 people reach. So far, we're up to a little bit over 8,000, but we want to reach 10,000 by the end of the first quarter of the year. So if you guys would start sharing, that would really help us out. All right. Until tomorrow night. Bye bye.